This is DJ Cut from Constant Deviants.
This is MI from Constant Deviants, and you're chilling with my man at the B-Shine.
Really, I started listening to the radio around 84, 85. There was a couple of college radio stations. That was like my real intro to rap, really. I think it was like BAI and stations like that were playing some early hip-hop. And then I think it was really like listening to like Red Alert in 87 on Kiss that really kind of got me into the DJing thing seriously. Just listening to the way he would like spin the records back and stuff like that. And just the types of records he was playing. I remember hearing like LL Rock the Bells. I think that was actually on BLS. It was like Mr. Magic played LL Rock the Bells for the first time. It was like the world premiere of Rock the Bells, and how he was bringing that back. That really wanted me to get serious DJing after that.
As far as music goes, my whole family is musicians, so I was always inspired to do music, like played the drums, played the piano when I was young. But I don't know, like the first time I heard rap music, it just caught my ear, and I don't know, like I was good at memorizing raps. Like I remember I memorized Lottie Dottie, and people always asked me to write the lyrics down for them. So like I would write the lyrics down for people and then start kind of changing the lyrics around a little bit and making my own lyrics out of the stuff. And I just kind of learned the pattern of writing that way and just never stopped from there, man. A friend of mine, got some turntables and we started rocking, and it went from there.
The first memory I think that really where I really took it serious was actually getting the 12-inch for Lottie Dottie was the first kind of record I got, and I destroyed that record because at that time I was trying to scratch on my father's turntable on his stereo, and destroyed his needle and the record at the same time. But I think that was it for me. Just like hearing that sound on the turntable, that was my earliest memory of kind of really wanting to do it full time forever.
I remember the first time like a kid that I went to elementary school with came to school with like he brought a cardboard box to school and started breakdancing, and they were like, I'm from Baltimore, so it was like it was already kind of popping in New York, and they were like, yo, this is the new thing in New York, da-da-da, this and that. And I remember homeboy was breaking, and it was just bugged out because it was like it was new, and it was like that's just like the first thing I really kind of remember about like my first experience with like the culture itself, you know what I'm saying? And that was probably like, wow, early 80s for me.
I was living with my grandmother, and this is mid 80s. She would give me $2 a day for lunch. And I remember I used to take that $2 and put it in my pocket, and I would go hungry for like the week and save up to get, I got 2 BSR belt drive turntables with no pitch control, no nothing. And I couldn't get a mixer yet, so I spliced the 2 wires together from the turntables and plugged them into my stereo. And that was actually the first way I could play 2 records at the same time. And there was no mixing, no nothing like that. I had to start the records from the beginning to make sure they get in there. I think for my birthday, I was probably 14 or 15. My parents got me a set of 12s. And a 4-channel Gemini mixer that still had the wood paneling on the sides. and it was a go from there. I was doing house parties in junior high school already at that point.
I really started like kind of pursuing it as something to do, like probably like the early 90s. And we would go like, there was like places in Baltimore, like down by the harbor. There was like a record store on Saratoga Street that had like a freestyle like joint on Friday nights. And I would go downtown and start, like the same dude I talked about, my homeboy Trey, that he had some turntables. He worked at a record store, and he knew like DJs that would like DJ the little sessions and stuff like that. And that's really my first, like I would go down to those sessions and start rhyming. And at that time, I really hadn't like developed my delivery yet. I really was just more writing at the time. So I would be real excited and running out of breath and stuff. And a friend of mine, One Speaker Supreme, I knew him from like riding skateboards and bikes when I was even younger. He pulled me to the side and was like, yo, you're dope. Like, but we need to, basically build your delivery up a little bit. And at that point, him and Lab Tech One and a few other rappers from Baltimore kind of took me under their wing and taught me, the art of actual emceeing, and not just being a writer.
I started making tapes, and those circulated around a little bit. I got to do a couple of clubs in the city, and then I would say after doing the clubs I only did the clubs for a little while. I really didn't enjoy playing music that I didn't like for 5 hours or 6 hours. So I got out of the club thing pretty early and started focusing more on trying to make beats and then I went to school for engineering at that time, right out of high school. So that it was more, I went more towards the technical side after that, as far as making beats and engineering and things like that.
I mean, my family was always supportive of me doing music. Like I said, my father was a jazz musician, so it just kind of was just the same. Like he moved to New York when he was 16 to pursue jazz, so it's the same thing, like the same path essentially.
I guess I never had any other kind of goals other than music growing up. Like I always kind of wanted to do something with music, so they knew it was headed that direction, just didn't know kind of in what regards I was going to do it. But when I started engineering and started making money, they had smiles on their faces, so they knew that I wasn't going to be like late nights in the clubs and things like that.
Everybody has a way of expressing themselves. It's not really something I chose. Like, if I didn't write raps, I would have done something else artistic or creative. Like, I can't draw, so that was never my thing. But writing was always my thing. So I might be writing books right now, or, I might be expressing it in a different way. Making music, I just enjoy music, so it's awesome to be able to, like, create what I enjoy anyway. Like, I like listening to music as much as I like making music.
I think when we put out our first 12-inch was like was a real big thing for me. It was in '95. It was a record called Competition Catch Speed Knots, and seeing that floating around, and we actually had pictures of Primo buying the 12-inch at Beach Street, and that's kind of when I knew that like this is pretty cool. We're gonna keep doing this for a while, So, and then, definitely getting to travel and do shows and be on stage. That was all a lot of fun. Still is fun. It's still the same feeling as it was the first time still.
I would just say the whole journey's been an experience. Like, you meet a lot of good people, you meet a lot of shitty people, but, it prepares you for other places in life, like other things in life, like, doing this music and learning this music business is so cutthroat that it prepared me to be good at what else I do in life, like my other businesses and stuff. It's just the whole experience. I would probably say if I had to think of something, it would be the fact traveling, being able to travel different parts of the world, like going to Europe, meeting, we met a real great group of dudes and people, not even dudes, guys and girls in Switzerland named SWC Records. And they're just, they're an awesome group of people. And, like, I look at them like close friends at this point in my life. And, I wouldn't have had a chance to do that had we not been doing our music.
Meeting a lot of people that, that are also in the industry, cats that we grew up on, that, that we looked up to are now, closer to being a peer than some kind of idol or something like that, and mutual respect from those guys. That's an amazing thing, because we definitely have a lot of love for the culture and for the creation of it.
Earlier on, I was more like a battle rapper and stuff like that, and I would say my music was more like probably like had more of a shock value, like what I wrote and stuff like that, but it probably wouldn't have had such a long-standing impact And I would say probably over like the last 15 years or so, I've been more of a writer, and I write more like reality rap, like more like the current state of the world and what's going on in the communities around me and stuff. So I would say that, like, you know, the people could go back and listen to my music and get a good idea of what was going on at that time.
We've been lucky enough to put out a decent amount of music, and when people go back and look at the catalog, and I just want them to say that, you know, Constant Deviants, them two guys made dope music, you know, regardless of how everything is working nowadays. You know, did we have a hit record? You know, these guys are, you know, it's white guys or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I just want them to look back and listen to the music and say that these guys were able to make dope records.